Welcome back to this story. Sally Yates, the former Deputy Attorney General in the Obama administration, now set to testify before a Senate Judiciary tomorrow about the FBI's Trump-Russia probe and the meeting Sally Yates attended in the Oval Office in January 2017 with President Obama, where there was a debate about how to go after General Michael Flynn. After the FBI found no case against Michael Flynn, Senator Lindsey Graham says James Comey, Andrew McCabe also expected to testify next month. Let's welcome back to the show the attorney for General Flynn, Sidney Powell. Great to have you back on, Sidney. What do you think will come out of this hearing, and what would you ask Sally Yates?
Oh, I'd have a lot of questions for Sally Yates, Liz, not the least of which is to get the details of how she was briefed by the FBI immediately after their interview of Michael Flynn, because we know now from the records that they told her they believed General Flynn, that he was forthcoming, that he answered their questions as best he could to his recollection at the time, and that he showed no indications of any sort of deception and believed he was telling the truth, and they believed thought he was telling the truth, which completely eviscerates any sort of crime. Yet the very next day she runs to the White House not once but 2 times, and on the day after that also, to try to get General Flynn fired. It's absolutely inexplicable. And then, of course, there's the extensive conversation in the Oval Office on January 5th, and we now have Peter Strzok's notes that appear to be another conversation in which she participated about the recordings of Flynn's conversations with Ambassador Kislyak. They all knew that those conversations were perfectly legitimate and part of Flynn's job. There was no Logan Act violation, and they knew that. She, in particular, said that there was none and it wouldn't fly. So she has a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, Joe Biden had wrote down, or whether the government declassified documents showed Joe Biden brought up going after Flynn using the Logan Act. There's also this key question as well. The debate is, would Sally Yates still sign off on and approve the FBI's FISA wiretaps on Carter Page, given what she knows now about FBI abuses of the FISA court, the FBI misleading the FISA court, not disclosing to the FISA court? They were seeking FISA wiretaps based on the now discredited, debunked opposition research. The Steele dossier, Democrats paid for that. It was going to be used to contest the 2016 election if Hillary lost. That's what ended up in the FBI. What would you ask Sally Yates about that?
Well, first of all, I'd ask her if she actually read the application before she signed it, because it's a verified document, and any good lawyer reading that document would not put their name on it as asserting probable cause. It didn't include a first-hand statement of personal knowledge of any wrongdoing whatsoever. There was no probable cause for anything in those applications. It's appalling that search warrants, FISA warrants, were granted on them at all.
Sidney, let's get back to unmasking. What are your thoughts on the second investigation led by U.S. Attorney John Bash? He's now probing Obama officials unmasking or exposing the names of Trump team members like General Flynn. Reports are coming in that the unmasking there may have gone back to 2015 under Barack Obama and included getting NSA data on U.S. citizens, FBI outside contractors working on that NSA data. Your reaction to that?
Well, we can tell that it was very serious and very widespread from the decision of Judge Rosemary Collyer, who was the head of the FISA court previously, and a decision that was released in 2017 talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of illegal unmaskings. And essentially, Comey gave the FBI and private contractors unfettered access to the NSA database to mine it for whatever they wanted to mine it for. And people were doing about queries to get information on whoever they wanted to get it about, as if it were their own private Encyclopedia Britannica. So there are scads of violations, and I think they go back to 2014 as to Flynn, probably not long after he left DIA.
So this is massive abuses of power under the Obama administration, deeper and more widespread than people may realize. Because, Sidney, there's also this story. A nonprofit watchdog group on privacy and surveillance, former House Judiciary Chair Bob Goodlatte, he's a Republican out of Virginia, he's a senior advisor now advising them. They're hitting the Office of the DNI with FOIA requests. They want to know about whether intelligence officials under the Obama administration were spying on, did surveillance, and unmasking of 48 current and former members of Congress. These are members of Congress from January 2008 to January 15, 2020. Senator Rand Paul tweeted about that 3 years ago saying, yeah, he thought he was being spied on and unmasked. Your reaction to that?
Well, don't forget, John Brennan was spying on members of Congress with CIA assets and NSA tools of electronic surveillance. They were spying on anybody they wanted to spy on. And then Brennan also formed this thing called a fusion cell, or the hammer, or whatever people want to call it, that was used to just explode surveillance information and activity over all kinds of Americans, particularly Congress. And in fact, I've been told even I was surveilled several years ago.
So that's the danger Senator Grassley and Republicans are talking about. That we do not, the Republicans are saying we don't want to turn it to East Germany where we're spying and snitching on each other. And that if they could do it to General Flynn, they could do it to all of us. Your word on that?
Exactly. And they have been doing it on all of us, Liz. That is what all needs to be uncovered and explored and exposed for the American public to know how bad the surveillance state has been and is. And it's only gotten worse, and this COVID mess is only going to make it worse. That's part of the contact tracing I find extremely objectionable, all of it. It's way too much government intrusion in what is supposed to be a free society.
I'd like to switch gears. Senator Ron Johnson is pushing forward with his probe into the pay-to-play conflicts of interest involving Joe Biden and his son Hunter, involving Hunter Biden's work in Ukraine while Joe Biden was vice president overseeing Ukraine for the Obama administration. There's word that Senator Johnson could come out with that Biden report in mid-September. There's also maybe subpoenas being involved here. We're seeing Democrats like Nancy Pelosi go on CNN saying, well, this is effectively the Republicans meddling in the upcoming election, when these probes into the Biden started last year in 2019. Your reaction to that?
The American voters need all the legitimate information and truth they can get on the presidential candidates. Biden has been engaging in pay-to-play for a long time, particularly to benefit Hunter and other members of his family. He and Obama and the whole Clinton crime cabal have been doing this, lining their own pockets in their globalist deals for years. This is the corruption that President Trump was sent to Washington to get rid of, and it's all just starting to come to light. I think we're going to find that it is far worse than we ever realized.
Sidney, I'm so sorry. I wish we had more time with you. We are running out of time. Can you give us an update on what's going on? What's going on with your client, General Flynn's case? Senator Graham was talking about it last night with Shannon Bream of Fox News, saying it's outrageous that there's still delays with his case and it's still stuck in court. Your reaction?
Yes, Judge Sullivan has hijacked General Flynn's case essentially because he's refused to grant the government's motion to dismiss, to which General Flynn agreed. It's the only case in the country I'm aware of that this has ever happened in like this, and it's going to be re-argued on Tuesday to the entire D.C. Circuit Appellate Court, the Federal Appellate Court for the District of Columbia.
We'll stay on that. Sidney Powell, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming back on. Good to see you,
Thank you,
Sidney
Liz.
Powell.